good to see you. Thanks for coming. Hi, how you doing? I'm Nick. Thanks for coming. Here you go. Ready to go. Ready to go? Oh, he's speaking. Okay. He's going to cheer him on.
Hello, testing. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming out. We're going to get started here. For those of you who are new, we're a multifamily meetup. We specialize in buying apartment buildings. So you're in the right place if you're looking to meet new people and hear about deals and learn things. Tonight we have some fantastic speakers for you. Meryl Calliser, John Montero. They're the kings around here.
Oh, man.
John and Meryl are going to speak about their journey as partners in real estate and give you some great insight into what we do and what they do. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let them talk 15, 20 minutes, and then afterwards we're just going to go ahead and network. So thanks for coming out, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to John and Meryl.
You're going to stay away from it.
Well, thanks everybody for coming out. My name's John. That's Meryl. So we are revision masters. We've known each other for a long time, but about a year and a half ago, we met up at a Starbucks down the road and just started talking. Hey, what are you up to? What are you working on? And that was kind of the informal start of us getting together and saying, hey, let's do some deals together. Let's see how we can add value to each other and to our investors. And fast forward, a year and a half later, we'll get into exactly what we've been able to accomplish. And what we want to talk about tonight is really, some of the values that we try to work on with our partnerships, with the people around us, with our investors, and how we've been able to take a lot of those methodologies and been able to scale as quickly as we have. So with that, why don't we...
Hello? Hello? You want me to get it? Everybody, just real quick, Meryl Calliser, for those of you that don't know me, don't hate me, but I am a lawyer, commercial real estate SEC lawyer. That's probably how John and I met years ago in the deal. But yeah, just to reiterate, we're going to talk about really partnerships and how to scale your business. No one really talks about that aspect of it. So we're going to get into it, but we are like the epitome of this particular venture of scaling, way more than we anticipated. Next slide, please. It's very good. Who are we? I'm going to read, just in case someone can't read. Bridge Masters is a vertically integrated real estate investment firm specialized in acquiring and developing multifamily assets in the United States. Vision Masters acquires assets in high-growth submarkets, select properties that can benefit from its hands-on approach and vertical integration. Sounds like a commercial. All of that plus new development on multifamily. We're going to go through some of the slides because some of this is boring. I mean, you guys don't really care about this stuff, but that slide's off a little, John. More? Yeah. So, real quick, I don't know why I'm the one talking. Actually, I do. Real quick, this is scale. This is not us bragging. This takes a team to do all of this, and we're going to get into that. But John and I started 16 and a half months ago, Starbucks. We started 18 months ago at Starbucks, but put this together 16 and a half months ago. And Am I not loud enough? I've never heard that before. I don't even need a microphone. So in that 16 and a half months with partners, we acquired 26 multifamily assets. I think the average unit size is 211 units, occupancy 95%. Don't get too excited about the 15 cities. The reality is we stay in the Texas Triangle, DFW down to Houston, back across to Austin and up north. So it's those three major metropolitan areas, and then a little tiny place called Raleigh, North Carolina, which sets itself up just like Austin. So we like Raleigh, so do our investors. This number is actually a little outdated. It's more like 5,670 something units. Average year build, 1983, and then we raised $165 million pretty much in the last 13 months between amongst ourselves and then some of our partners like Charlie, who's in here. So we were very, very fortunate to have good partners. And then on the multifamily development side, this is all within the last probably 18 months. We have 8 multifamily development projects going on, bought or have the dirt under contract. 7 cities, secret sauce. There's nothing to hide. We look for path of progress markets, which everybody else is. We're in one right now. We're a little south of one, actually. We have Lake Dallas. We have a little tiny town called Sherman, Texas, with a heck of a lot of semiconductors facilities being built up there. We have Princeton, Texas. We have Conroe. We have Springs/Woodlands. We have Katy, and then a little town called Austin. And each one of those cities has its own special requirements for doing multifamily, especially Austin. This is, again, boring stuff. This is just from our SREO. These are all the properties that we're talking about that we closed in the last 13 months. Real numbers, every one of them is doing great. Yeah, 5,779. Apologize. Next, we're going to get into why we're here. Those are the existing development projects. Again, this right here is the land value, $96 million. That's what it actually costs us to buy the land right now. The biggest project is Sherman Gateway up there. That's an older number. We're closer to 1,700 units. Not one apartment complex. There'd be no way to sell that. So that's actually going to be divided into 4 separate multifamily apartment complexes on the same 57-acre piece of land right across from TI. John and Merrill, you know us. Now we're going to get into some fun stuff. So John, it's the first time John's had a computer. It's very exciting. All right, so look, none of you guys can read this. I'm 53 and I can't read it from here. But this is kind of our corporate chart. And if you think John and I did all of this by ourselves, well, you're right. But no, I'm just kidding. We have other people that help us along the way that are in the background that you don't see. I mean, many here, yeah. We've got Tandy, Charlie, Andrew. Oh, Jeff. I forgot Jeff's here. Jeff. And they're all listed here, but in order to do what we're doing, it does take a team. And John and I are fortunate. We've both built and sold off companies where we had to go from 0 to 100, 200, 300 plus, and then sell them off. But at the end of the day, we can't get to where we are today or where we were before without having the right team. And I can tell you as a lawyer who represents a lot of LLCs, a lot of these structures, LLCs are like marriages, okay? I'm not going to ask how many people aren't married anymore. But I would tend to believe that LLC divorces are even higher than the divorce rate for marriage, especially after COVID. So what that basically means is people pick the wrong partners. And when you're going out and you're looking for the right partner, John and I have, listen, we're not experts. Every once in a while you still get some people that just surprise you. But we, fortunately, unfortunately, been around the block long enough where we've had relationships that didn't work out, so we know what not to look for. And then my secret weapon's not here, but John's is here. Tracy is somewhere. I don't know where she is, but we use our wives. nice secret weapon. Use your wives. They have insight into people that I don't know how they do it, but it doesn't exist in our world, male world. But it takes. We have president, CEO. We have a COO who's Jeff. Operations. Tandy is our CFO, licensed CPA. Anna Kelly is I forgot what the S stands for. Chief Strategic Officer. If you go to Google, you can find out the entire C-suite. You can actually make up names for people. It is so cool. They have like 300 chief somethings, but these weren't made up. Bernard, we have a Canadian connection. He's coming down here. He's our Chief Investment Officer. Cindy, who is my partner on the law firm, she's the Chief Legal Officer. And then we have Rob down here, who is Chief Marketing Officer. So the whole point is, this is a team. So these are part of our direct people that work with us. And then we also consider part of our team, as you'll see up there, third parties, where it's near John. Our engineering firm, we consider part of our team. We typically use the same engineering firm on every multifamily development. We use the same architect firm out of Houston, out of Katy, on all of our multifamily developments. And then they bring along a landscaping architect, MEP, and then it's not really that much of a secret. We use an owner's rep on most of our projects. I know you guys are going to ask what an owner's rep is, and John will explain that. So we have third parties that we use over there, and then we also, on our existing, which we consider part of our team, is our property management company. You guys have probably seen me post mostly good things about property management companies in general, but as John and I know, because we've been doing this a while, property management companies, is anybody here with a property management company before I go off on property management companies? Because I like property management companies. They're a necessary part of what we do, but the problem we have, if you went through a guru program or even a self-taught program, no one tells you what they don't do. And it's not that they don't do it because they don't want to. That's not their job. So all of us as sponsors, we have fiduciary duty to all of our investors. And we can't expect a company, and they're very necessary, but you can't expect a third-party company that makes 3% on top of all the revenue they collect to do 100% of your job, which is manage the assets. So you guys see, we post about KPIs. We have Andrew, who is somewhere around here. He's our asset manager on all of our existing, and I pop in every once in a while because Andrew's really nice. He's always smiling, and he's always very accommodating on the calls. And then when Merrill says something, people get really nervous and blah, blah, so I only say things a couple times. But it's very important that sponsors actually listen and are participating weekly on their property manager calls. I can't tell you how many clients I have that have never been on a property management call. I don't understand, but I do understand when they're making cash calls and they've got other issues going on. You've got about 20 to 25% of what needs to be done that will not be done by a property management company. So what we do is we have a team, and that team helps us fill the gap. John wants to talk.
You did learn how to do it.
So before I got into multifamily, like many of us, I was in the corporate world. In the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley, I was part of the founding management group of Walmart.com. So we started Walmart.com as a separate company back in 1999. Excel Partners, the VC firm, put the deal together. And then Walmart out of Bentonville was a minority shareholder. And I tell that story only because we started it in 1999 with zero revenue. And when I left in 2005, we were doing over $1 billion a year in e-commerce sales on the website, which today doesn't sound like a lot with e-commerce and Amazon, but back then it was a hockey stick growth. And so I had to really learn how to effectively scale that business. And so I kind of put this process in place that has really benefited me in every one of my other businesses, including my real estate businesses, on how to scale businesses. And so I basically say people, process, systems, and data, PPSD. So in order to scale, a lot of companies, they just scale so quickly, but what they don't do is they create the foundation to be able to create a base in order to scale quickly. And so one of the things that Meryl and I have focused on since the day we started to do deals together was to really focus around people, processes, systems, and data. The most important, Meryl was just talking about it with that org chart, is people. Okay, you got to have the right people around you to be able to support the growth that you are planning to scale with. So we'll talk about how you, in our mind, find good partners in order to find the right people to be able to support that growth. But to me, people is most important. Once you have the right people and team in place, then you've got to think about what are the processes that are repeatable time and time again, right? Whether you're underwriting deals, whether you're asset managing, whether you're working with a property management company, a lot of that is repeatable either on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. And so what we've done is be able to kind of map out boxes and arrows of what are the step-by-step processes in place. And in order to do that, you're taking away a lot of time and effort by defining what those processes are. When you define those processes, the next thing to do is how do you systematize it? Whether it's software, whether it's different type of systems in place so that, as you continue to scale, you're able to automate a lot of those processes with again, typically it's software or different systems. And then the last thing is data. So as you kind of putting these systems and processes in place, there's a lot of data that's then created. So we spend a lot of time being able to capture that data first in just massive databases, and then be able to distill that data down into KPIs, into dashboards, so that we're able to kind of be able to monitor the business on a daily basis, and again, be able to be proactive in our approach in addressing both opportunities and issues on an ongoing basis rather than being reactive and just continually try to put out fires. So that has really kind of helped us kind of hit those numbers that you saw earlier. Next slide, thanks. So this is, when we talk about partnerships, it could be everything from Meryl and I being a partner. It could be partners with investors. It could be partners with other co-sponsors or other GPs in a deal. It could be partners with our engineering firm, our architect firm, our property management company. I consider all of those partners. And so one of the things that I say that make really excellent partnerships is aligned values and ethics with complementary skill sets. And so basically what that means is when I'm talking to people and figuring out is it a good fit, I always start with aligned values first. What is important to that person, not just in business, but also in life? Because if you aren't aligned with what those things are that are important to that partner, and if yours aren't aligned, eventually, you're going to start butting heads. So for us, everybody's different, but for us, it's all about family first. It's about putting friends and family and spouses, children, taking and really kind of putting them first and foremost. And then from there, who else is important in our lives? Obviously our investors, obviously the people that work with us, and making sure that that alignment is there. And then from there, once we say, yep, there's alignment. And by the way, it usually takes years in many instances for me to partner up with somebody. I mean, there's so many in the room that I've actually partnered with that I've known for so many years, but it's taken a long time for us to be able to say, okay, I see how you work, I see how you treat people, let's have a conversation on how we do a deal together. And so for us, it takes me a long time to get comfortable. Once you have that alignment, then you say, okay, what are the complementary skill sets? So if I bring the exact same skill set as my partner, then all I've done is replicated or duplicated myself. So you need to understand what you're really good at, what creates passion, what you really enjoy doing, and then fill the gaps with other people that are good at what perhaps you don't enjoy doing or you're not very good at. So again, aligned values and complementary skill sets is really what we have found for us to really create solid, long-lasting partnerships. And then ultimately, once you have that, you can actually scale from there. Your slide.
You're doing so good. So, as I mentioned earlier on, one of the other things that we do, and we do as a company as a whole, John and I are on the exact same page as to where we want to invest. And where we want to invest is the same page as where our investors want us to find properties and find opportunities. So it's not on a slide here. I've talked about it a lot, so has John. Unless you know your investor database and when they're willing to invest, how much they're willing to invest, where they want to invest, where their pain points are where they won't invest, you're wasting your time. You literally are wasting your time. So one of the things as you're growing and to become successful is constantly polling your database. You want to know. The market is kind of scary for some people. It's opportunistic for others. So you don't want to keep targeting those that are scared. Or maybe you send certain newsletters out to those that are scared, explaining what's going on in the market, at least from your perspective or from some economist perspective. And those that think, hey, now's the time I want to invest, you specifically focus on those. So one of the things, I could tell John's story, which is actually pretty funny. He put all his money and moved to Texas. John's story is like the Beverly Hillbillies, though they're not hillbillies by any means, but he was in Hawaii, the depths of the recession in 2008, and John said, I can't sit back. I put on my economist hat, he's not an economist, but his hat as an economist, and said, Texas is where it's happening, and then put his finger on Frisco, and he's been there ever since. But one of the reasons John and everybody else is here and why we like to invest, especially in Texas, it's the Texas Triangle. People call it the Texaplex. You can call it whatever you want, but it's a triangle. And anybody that's invested in San Antonio, I gave you credit. I drew it all the way down to San Antonio, didn't skip it, and went to Austin. So it's DFW to Houston, across to San Antonio, through Austin, and back up to DFW. That represents almost 22 million of the 30 million people that live in Texas. Okay, you may need to fact check me because I may be off by 500,000, but it represents about 79, 80% of the entire population. And probably close to 90% of all the business that's going on. So all four of those cities, especially DFW, Austin, Houston, are growing faster than just about any other part in the country. So we like it. It's great. There's this mentality where if you're buying a property next to me, it's going to hurt me, or I don't think you should be buying in Dallas because I'm buying in Dallas. There are 8.5 million people live in DFW. I could probably look it up on CoStar. There are probably thousands of multifamilies. There is so much opportunity here. All of us could do 10 deals and wouldn't run over each other. So DFW, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, great markets. We'll make these slides available to you guys later so you can read why. There's a book that John and I keep promoting. Unfortunately, we don't get any money for promoting it. But it's called The End of the World is Just the Beginning. John told me to read it, and it just blew me away. Very, very good, especially relates to what's going on right now. The guy is very good, but the guy's not from Texas, and he decides to dedicate a chapter, or a part of a chapter, just to why he thinks Texas and the whole deglobalization over the next 20 years will be positioned to be literally the strongest place, if not the country, the world. And when you look at it, it kind of makes sense, but you never really think about DFW. I'll just go over this real quick. This is why John and I have very similar goals, especially for partnership. We love this area. There is no reason to get out of this area. Yeah, there are opportunities. Florida, someone brought 2 in Miami today. Why? We're here. Why mess up what's a good thing? But DFW acts as the leverage. It's the banking center that turns Austin's brain work into mass manufacturing. So DFW is known for automotive and banking. San Antonio, lower cost of labor, little different demographic. It basically assists Austin to produce anything that can be put on an assembly line. It's just the way that our triangle has come up. And then Houston kind of puts everything together. Houston combines Austin's tech, DFW's automotive and banking centers, San Antonio's mass manufacturing, and then Houston's financial hub to become the #1 energy hub in the U.S., still is. #1 port in the U.S. by value of cargo. So if you think about that, do you ever hear anything about the Port of Houston? Ever in the news? No, we hear about L.A. and everything is stuck offshore and blah, blah, blah. Houston's the #1 port for value. I think it's #2 for busyness. And then #2 globally. This is Houston, okay? #2 globally behind Germany in machine metal workmanship. So I don't know how many people here are familiar with Germany. Germany sets the bar for machine work, sets the bar. That's an entire country. We have a city that's just south of us that almost all of us that invest have some deals in Houston. It's incredible. And then #2 city in the U.S. for most Fortune 500s. This was news to me because I thought DFW was. I probably put it in some slides quite a bit time ago, but I think DFW is #3 now. But if you think about it, between DFW, Houston, and Austin, the number of Fortune 500 companies in Texas is crazy, and the number that keep moving here is even absurd. So part of why it works well with John and I is there was no question where we wanted to start our partnership. And 18 months later, we have, I don't know, 900 million and then plus.
I'd say that, this slide is just an indication of us being hyper-focused and staying in our lane, and that has allowed us to scale. If we were in multiple markets, multiple states across the U.S., it would make it really difficult for us to scale. But because these markets, if there's a problem, we're getting in our truck and we're driving, we're not having to book a plane to go around the country. So again, we're not saying that this is the only opportunity. What we're saying is we've been able to scale because we've stayed in our lane. Being super focused on, I always say that if it's not a yes, it's a fast no. So if it's anything outside of this, unless there's a super compelling reason for us to look at it, we just say thanks, but no thanks. No, we're done. So this is our info. Anybody that wants to reach out, we'll be here the rest of the night having some drinks.
I might thank you guys for having us. Really appreciate it. And then John and I, we're different than other people. We love, really, I hate this thing. So we really enjoy helping and teaching, not for money. It's a little different. Kind of what we know, and good or bad, the experiences we've gone through. And the idea is, especially groups like this, you guys should all try to do deals with each other. It is a mentor of mine when I first became a lawyer at a large firm that doesn't exist anymore in Dallas. Great man. He passed away, unfortunately. But one thing he said to me that has always resonated with me is it's lonely at the top. So I never got that until I went out and tried to do single family. And for the most part, did most of it on my own. I had a team, but I was responsible for all the liability. I was responsible for everything that happened. I'm the one that got chewed out by hedge funds on the East Coast when, occupancy went from 97 to 96.9. And there was no one there to share in the downside or the upside. And so strongly encouraged, it took me until I was 48 to figure out what this guy told me when I was 35. But it is lonely at the top. And if you can find that right mix of similar skill sets and complementary skill sets, similar values. John and I do something fun. It's actually quite fun. We can figure it out by the people we meet. But as far as personalities, John made me do it. We take a Colby test. K-O-L-B-Y, right? E. Sorry. K-O-L-B-E. It's great. Anybody in here taking the Colby test? Well, I know Andrew did. We made him. So it's fascinating, though. So now when we bring people on, we have them take the test. And we can pretty much peg their numbers. There's nothing wrong with it. It just shows, if I try to get John to make a decision on something quickly, every time, I got to sleep on it. Why? Yeah, so under Fact Finder, he's got a very high number. Mine's middle, so, which is really interesting. We're almost the same numbers. So you might argue we're similar skill sets in some aspect or similar thought processes. But then we have people like Jeff, who wherever we're high, he's low. Wherever we're low, he's high. So he balances us out. And I'm not allowing Tandy to take it because I already know where she is. She's just like me, unfortunately. But anyway, we're around if anybody has any questions. Again, strongly encourage everybody, pass out as many cards as you can. Get to know each other. There's way too much opportunity, even right now, I'm telling you, as a lawyer with a lot of deals going on, tons of opportunity.
So that long list of properties that we were able to close in the last year, a big chunk of them actually came from this meetup. We met some people from this meetup, in addition to Yoshi.
Yeah.
Others as well. So you just never know when you're going to have the conversation with your future partner, your future investor, your future broker that's going to find you your next deal. So this is why you guys are here. So definitely take advantage of networking and meeting people. So thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John and Meryl. That was some fantastic information. Let's give them another hand. That was amazing. Thank you for your time. Real quick, in case you don't know the hosts, Nick, Yoshi, David, Juan, myself, Rob. We would just like to take a quick group picture, and then we'll get to what we came here for, networking and meeting people. So thank everyone for coming out, and have a great night. Yeah, let's just move back against that wall for a group picture. Thank you.